welcome back to my channel of an everyday life of an Aspie. If you're following me right now on AspieAnswersAll, or Aspie as I'm known for short, for many of years it has been, on my channel for quite some time, and for the newbies, basically just to give you a brief introduction about me. If you want to know me more, besides the jurisdiction of all these diagnoses that comes in the territory of Autistic syndrome, as I shared so many times before, that I'm all about creating mental health and awareness versus basically talking my life story with Autistic syndrome and the like, as well as just every other day topics that comes along with the territory of Autistic syndrome, or just everyday topics that may come about, so that I can give you guys, tips and advice along with basically just, how to say it, words of encouragement and pearls of wisdom based on my training and experience along the way, and hopefully that regardless of all this, that you can respect it regardless of our differences. So in all further ado, guys, basically at this point of time I'm trying to finish up, as you know, the how-to series versus basically the ADHD and Autistic syndrome, and all these other series that I need to tidy up, and these playlistings that I want to clearly address to you all and actually share with you all from what I can gather and know. So in all further ado, this one's basically on how to teach an autistic child, part 4 of basically understanding the law and best practices. So here goes. So as you know, basically, as I shared before, that many children have different needs regardless if they're autistic or not, and it's about balancing out what's right for them at that time of day or whatever it may be. So in this part, number 1, understand that every child has the right to an education regardless of their disability status. However, this is what I've researched in the United States, the Individuals with Disabilities Education Act, IDEA, basically enacted in 1975, and the Americans with Disability Act enacted in 1990 are federal laws that require public schools to provide a free and accessible education for all individuals. Here in New Zealand, however, where I am at, there are a few acts that has been changed at this point of time, but from what I can recall, the Human Rights Act 93 in clause 22 or part 22 says that we have the right to education due to our disability status, as well as also another one is the Health and Disability Act, which is I think done in 2000, and this one is also important, even though that it says other bits and pieces there clearly stating about how for people with different specialised needs, they are entitled to certain health services and support services that requires them to, function in their everyday life. So as I said before, the laws cover children who may meet the eligibility requirements in one of the 13 areas whose disability negatively affects his or her educational performance, and who require special educational services as well of their own disability, regardless of it may be. In this case, what I'm speaking on, autism spectrum disorder, is the qualifying diagnosis. Not only must the state provide a free education for all individuals, but that education must meet his or her unique individual needs, which can differ from neurotypical children. And as I said before, for what neurotypical means, it means that this is children who do not have a neurological diagnosis such as Autistic syndrome or autism or autism spectrum disorders that comes in that territory. Number 2, for this, every child who qualifies for special education services must have an individualized education plan, or IEP as I abbreviate short, which specifies what accommodations are required for the student because of his or her diagnosis. Number 4, most reasonable accommodations for a child receiving special educational services can vary widely. Some students may only need extra time to take tests or assistive technology like a laptop, while others may require a paraprofessional small group instruction or curriculum modification. Tip number 2, this is an important one, respecting your students' privacy through confidentiality. As we know that confidentiality is the key to basically anything in life, be it if we're in a business setting, be it if we're in an educational setting and the like. As we know, it's the teacher's responsibility, however, in this case, to accommodate a student's IEP without singling out any of the child or disclosing his or her diagnosis to the rest of the class without their permission. Students with special needs may often have medical diagnosis, treatment plans and medications that's included in their educational records, however, which are protected under their right to privacy under the Individuals with Disability Education Act, which is again this American Act that I'm reading from. This makes you legally liable if you disclose the private information without the consent of the parents. So what I'm saying is here also, even though there's a lot of acts that I've been trying to research up to gather for the New Zealand information for you guys, since I'm located in New Zealand, I just humbly apologise so in advance while I'm doing this, researching it and trying to remember from memory what I got taught in business, communication papers versus everything else. So hopefully some of this will still come together nicely and make sense to all regardless where you guys are from. Okay, number 2 on this, generally a student's rights to privacy is limited by our need to know basis. Faculty and staff, coaches, playground monitors, cafeteria staff, etc. might need to know about an autistic child's condition in order to understand their communication skills, limitations, fixations, outlets, or any other manifestations of their condition that may arise. If you are unsure about your district's confidentiality procedures, talk with the district special education coordinator. Consider arranging a typical workshop for teachers to learn about these procedures, as well as to create an awareness and understanding of it. If you need to initiate a class or school-wide policy to protect the interests of a child with special needs, however, for instance, an example here, instituting a peanut-free policy at a school where a child is allergic, notify the families of the policy and indicate that it is to protect a student with a special need. However, do not mention the affected child by name. Autistic students and their classmates all benefit if the other students understand an autistic classmate diagnosis, but for privacy reasons, the teacher cannot disclose that diagnosis to the class. Many proactive parents will take it upon themselves to discuss their child's autism with the class, plan a meeting with the parents early in the school year to let them know that your classroom doors are open to them when you want to discuss this. Number 3, support a least restrictive environment. In the IDM Act of basically what I've shared just before and for the American ones, it mandates or states that students with disabilities are entitled to the least restrictive environment in education, which means their learning environment should be as similar to their non-disabled person as possible. The least restrictive environment for a given student will vary from time to time and is determined and written into their IEP by a team of people, including the parents' medical team and the school district special education department. The IEP will generally be re-evaluated annually, which means the least restrictive environment for students may change. In many cases, however, this means that the autistic child or children should be educated in regular classrooms rather than in a specialised education classroom. This can vary depending on the student's diagnosis and IEP, but in general, autistic students are placed in regular classrooms as much as possible to include them in everyday tasks and everyday, activities that they go through of their day on that timetable schedule, even though, sometimes some autistics, as I said, they may like to work on their own, some may like to work in groups. But then again, it's still important to know what works for the child. This practice is called mainstreaming or inclusion, as I just mentioned. In these situations, it is the responsibility of the teacher to make accommodations in the classroom for autistic children. Many of these accommodations will be specified on the student's IEP, but educated teachers should be able to adapt their teaching strategies in ways that will support the learning processes that is unique to the autism, while simultaneously respecting the learning needs of the remaining neurotypical students in the classroom. Number 4, last but not least, evaluate approaches and interventions on an individualized basis. As we know, in addition to the student's IEP, adaptations that are made for autistic students should be evaluated and implemented based on the individual student's needs. Get to know the student one-on-one as an individual and maybe remove that stereotyping about their, condition. While stereotypes are common, every autistic person is unique and special and will have their own different needs. As a teacher, you must become aware of each student's ability in each discrete educational area by assessing their current standing. Knowing the student's current strengths and weaknesses will help you develop a plan to develop practical interventions. This is true in any academic subject, however, as well as also for these subject areas is the social and communication skills to help them prepare in everyday life. Well, this basically ends the last part of the How to Teach an Autistic Child Part 4, Understanding the Law and Best Practice. Humbly apologise in advance once more about what I shared with some parts is maybe American side, not the English side of where I am at in New Zealand. Give me the like for the thumbs up for support. Comment below if there's anything I missed. Feel free to follow me on Twitter and Facebook, AspieAnswersAll. Feel free to subscribe to my channel. Feel free to share these videos around. So without further ado, thanks for the support, thanks for watching. Do what you love what you do, and I'll see you again soon.